Outrage over reports that two teenage girls charged in the deadly carjacking of an Uber Eats driver might get a cushy plea deal. The girls are ages 13 and 15. Mohammed Anwar clung to the driver's side with the doors open as the girls tried to speed off. The car crashed, flipping onto its side and tossing into the sidewalk. One of the teen girls, only interested in one thing, not Mohammed Anwar, but her cell phone, that's what the girl cared about, as Anwar's body lay nearby on the sidewalk. The plea deal with prosecutors is said to ensure the girls won't be held past the age of 21, nor be placed in a prison facility. This happening as the murder rate in virtually every U.S. city is at its highest level in more than 2 decades. Joining me now, Judge Alex Farrar. Judge Alex, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
It's great to be with you, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it. So, Judge, as a police officer, I lived through the Rudy Giuliani broken windows era of policing in New York, where they changed the whole mentality on policing. They said, we're not going to let the little things go anymore because the little things lead to the bigger things. Now, Judge, we're not only dismissing the little things, but we're dismissing the big things, too. I mean, is anything but catastrophe ahead if we follow down this path?
Nope. That's exactly the path you're headed down. I was a police officer myself, and I totally agree with you. When it comes to the plea deal with these girls, you really have to wait and see, honestly, to see what is being considered a cushy plea deal, because one of the toughest decisions as a judge, and a prosecutor has the same decision to make, is what do you do with juveniles who commit serious crimes? A 30-year-old who commits a carjacking and somebody dies, that's an easy one for the judge and for the prosecutor. But when you're dealing with a 15-year-old, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds, their mind's not fully developed. That's the reason we don't let them vote. That's the reason we don't let them buy guns. So you have a tough decision to make. If you take that child and you put them in the juvenile facility, they're released at the age of 21, which is typically the most violent age if they're going to be violent. If you take them and treat them as an adult, they're never going to be the same, because you're sending them to an adult prison where people are waiting to prey on them, and if they ever get out, their life is done. So it is one of the hardest decisions a judge or a prosecutor can make, whether or not you're going to treat them as a juvenile or as an adult. And in making that decision, you really have to look at factors like, what is their prior record? Are they kids who are troublemakers, who are constantly committing crimes that are getting slowly more violent, in which case they're likely to victimize more people? Or is this like an isolated incident? Is this out of character for the girls? Juveniles make stupid decisions that sometimes have tragic consequences. So that's a tough call. I think once we see the plea, we'll know whether this is, we're not taking care of serious items, or whether this is, it's a tough call to make when you're dealing with juveniles. Should we, should we treat them as an adult?
Yeah, I understand, but I think most of us out there, and listen, I have not been in your shoes. I mean, obviously, I've never been a judge. It's got to be a tough job. I can't imagine. But I think people watch this video. They see the lack of remorse. They see the brutality of it. They see that it went on for minutes on end, where it wasn't just, okay, we, tried to tase this guy, didn't get his car, let's run out of here, joke gone bad. That's not what happened. I mean, this went on for a while, and they say to themselves, well, if they're going to act like adults and do these kind of brutal things, then maybe they should be treated as adults.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, it is a spectrum. Somewhere along the spectrum, the crime lies. There's a difference between somebody who just steals a car and in running away accidentally runs over somebody, and somebody who actually uses force or the threat of force, like a taser, to carjack somebody and take their car. Those are all factors that go into the decision. That's why you have to wait and see what the final plea is. I'm certainly not downplaying the crime. For God's sakes, we have a dead man whose family is, of course, suffering from this, and to the point that you were making, crime is skyrocketing across the country now. You look at the release of people from prison because of COVID, which makes no sense to me. Like, prison isn't a place where it's violent and you're likely to get injured or possibly killed anyway. And then you look at the denigration of police officers across the country, which led to police officers in New York getting water dumped on them and attacks everywhere. There are murder rates in the country that cities have never seen, ever. And cities are seeing increases of 20–25%. It's all heading in the wrong direction.
No, it is, and I got to run. But, people talk. Criminals talk, too. I mean, I live in Martin County, Florida. We have a sheriff down here with he enforces the law. You're going to go to jail if you commit a crime
Yeah.
here. And criminals talk, and they commit crimes in other
There have
counties.
to
They
be
see that welcome to
consequences.
Martin County sign. You know, they turn around. They go somewhere else. So I appreciate your insights. So
Yeah.
really invaluable.
There have to be consequences, or else criminals get empowered. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
No, you're right. And they
Thanks.
talk. They all talk. So thanks, Judge. We appreciate it.